Thanks, Evan. I'm Randy, and I'm an alcoholic. Oh, I know. I do that every week. Okay, how about now? I do that every week. I'm Randy, and I'm an alcoholic. Hi, everybody. I'm so grateful to be here. It's Wednesday. It's my favorite day of the week. I get to go to London every Wednesday with no jet lag. It's awesome. The reason I'm here is because I'm an alcoholic and I have alcoholism. I have a disease that centers in my mind. There's something wrong with me, and what's wrong with me is not alcohol. Alcohol was the treatment for what was wrong with me, and what's wrong with me they call alcoholism, which is a little confusing because it makes me think that it might be alcohol that's wrong with me. But that's not my experience. It might be yours, and I hope that it is. I hope that you get to come to AA and just not drink one day at a time, and your life gets amazing, and you never need to go to meetings anymore or be part of this, live this program as a way of life. Not my experience. I came to meetings, I got sober, time passed. In the very beginning, it was very exciting. To be newly sober was very exciting. To not be drinking, to be getting pats on the back from friends and family, very exciting. To be able to cash my check and actually put it in the bank instead of the bartender or the drug dealer was very exciting. But that wore off, and it wears off. And it usually wears off sometime between 2 and 3 years of sobriety. And that's why the rooms are filled with people with about up to 2.5 years, and then it gets kind of skinny around the 5-year mark because a lot of people just don't do the program as a way of life and end up drinking or killing themselves. This is a serious disease. It never lets up. It never tells me when I wake up in the morning. My disease centers in my mind, and my mind talks to me with authority, and it talks to me with authority in my own voice. In my own voice, it tells me, nothing ever works out for you. Just pull the covers over your head and go back to bed. And then I do that for a few days, and then it tells me, look, there's nobody or nothing in your life. You are a complete loser. You've been in bed for 3 days. Why don't you take a drink? Or at least just kill yourself. That's a serious disease. That's why I'm here with a lot of years of sobriety. And you know what's crazy? The disease doesn't go away in time. It gets worse, never better. That's the experience of most of the members of AA, that it's a progressive disease that gets worse over time. What gets worse? My drinking doesn't get worse because I'm not drinking. What gets worse is my mind. It gets louder. It gets meaner and angrier, and it's faster. And it talks to me with more authority, and I believe it because now I have time. I'm not drinking. I can't. Why would I not trust my own mind? And therein lies the problem. And so this meeting is about it's principles in application. It's about application. This isn't a step study meeting, even though we're going through the steps because we got to talk about something. But really, God, if you came here to hear something today that's going to change your life, that could or couldn't happen, not because of me, but because of God, because of your higher power. If you hear anything today, that's because your higher power and you allowed it to come in, not because of anything that's said from me or anybody else that's going to share today. The second step says, at the end of the second step, it says, true humility and an open mind can lead me to faith. And every AA meeting is an assurance that God will restore me to sanity if I rightly relate myself to him. So this meeting was set up not to have another AA meeting. There's enough AA meetings right now. This meeting is set up to have a place to come to. For me, I don't know why you're here, but the reason I'm here is to be reminded that I need to rightly relate myself to it, to her, to God, to him, to whatever it is, to something other than me. And if I don't start relating myself to something other than me, then all I have is me. And that's all I've ever had. I've been the power for my life for most of my life. And now step 2 says that I'm going to come to believe that there's a power that's greater than me and that power could restore me to sanity. So the old way of life was me self-talking with a warped mind, with alcoholism, self-talking to myself, trying to restore myself to sanity, trying to figure out which woman would be the right woman so that I could be okay about women, and trying to figure out how much money I need, exactly how much money I need in the bank so I can be okay about money, and trying to figure out which way to drive to the meeting so that my mind will be quiet about how I drove to the meeting, and trying to figure out which parking space is going to be available for me when I get to the meeting. And all of those things turn to insanity because I get in my car and I start talking to myself about how to get to the meeting. And I run all the scenarios through my head. If I take that street, there's stoplights. If I take that street, there's traffic and bicycles. And when I get there, there's never going to be any parking. And then I just decide, forget it. I'm not going anywhere. I'm just going to sit here on the couch and hate my life. I have a disease. There's something wrong with me. And I am the wrong power to restore me to sanity. So I can say, I can go, God, I'd like to go to this meeting. Could you help me? Could you help me? Which way would you prefer that I go? And get in my car and drive to the end of the street and say, do I go left or do I go right? Not because I don't know how to get to the meeting, but because I don't want to use my mind anymore to try to restore me to sanity. I don't want to use my mind anymore. I can. I have free will free of God. I can use my mind all that I want. But what's being offered is a program of recovery. And what I'm recovering from is not alcohol. I'm recovering from a warped mind, from grave emotional and mental disorders. I'm sorry if I've offended anybody and you're just here because you drank too much. So the second step, so true humility and an open mind. The humility is that I see from step 1 that my life has become unmanageable. And my life isn't what goes on outside of me. My life is what goes on inside of me. It's the self-talking, unsatisfiable, fault-finding, opinionated mind. That's what's wrong with me. And if I don't address that, and I'm just here to not drink, and I'm going to work some steps like a chore and do all 12 steps and then go help newcomers, well, what are you going to help them with? Not drinking? There's a message in Alcoholics Anonymous. The 12 steps is a way of life, and the 12th step says having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps. Well, not drinking does not cause a spiritual awakening. It's just not drinking. Actually, for me, if you're like me, not drinking causes grave emotional and mental disorders for me and everyone around me. It creates a lot of chaos and a lot of disillusionment and a lot of broken promises and a lot of broken dreams. Not drinking makes me very restless, irritable, and discontent. And so I better have something else. And it starts in the steps and admitting complete defeat. I'm a complete defeat at being okay today with my mind. I can tie my shoes. I can drive to the meeting. I can eventually find a parking spot. But while I'm looking for that parking spot, it's very likely that I will want to kill some people. I won't actually kill anybody usually. I haven't killed anybody sober or drunk, I don't think. But my mind has wanted to very often. And just because you got to the parking spot before I did. That's a warped mind. There's something wrong with that mind. So we're really supposed to be talking about step 7 today. And step 7 is the whole character changes in step 7. Step 1 through 6 is all about me. Who am I? It's all about being restored to sanity. It's all about seeing the character that I am because I have alcoholism, and how my resentments give me a free pass to act badly the rest of my life. How often do you hear people share in meetings, well, my dad beat me, so that's why I'm like this. Or my mom locked me in a closet, so that's why I'm like this. Or I never had any friends growing up, so that's why I'm like this. All of that is resentment-based actions. So I give myself a get out of jail free card because of my childhood. If you had my childhood, you'd act like this too. Or it'd be okay if you did, which is all crazy nonsense, because I have to be the man that God wants me to be today because God says so. With no reference to the old. It says I have to let go of my old ideas, absolutely, or the result is nil. What result? The result of being okay in the moment that I'm in is nil. It's impossible for me to be okay if I'm still using my old ideas. Because there's something wrong with my mind, and so there's something wrong with my idea about everything that ever happened to me in my past life. It says somewhere in the book that eventually I'm not going to regret the past nor wish to shut the door on it. I think that's a promise. No matter how far down I've gone, I'm going to see how my experience could be helpful to others. Well, before I get to the ninth step, before those promises start happening, I can see how my experience, my past experience, can be used to be harmful to others. So that I have I can act however I want because I had such a terrible life. And that's that. And that's it. Closed mind. End of story. Step 7 is where I turn from self. Step 6, I become entirely ready to have God, not me, God remove my defects of character. My defects of character are not the 7 deadly sins. It's not anger, gluttony, lust. Those are not the things that need to be removed. Those are the results of the things that need to be removed. What needs to be removed is my delusions and my fears. And my delusions are the lies that I tell myself. Like I have the delusion that one day I'm going to be able to wrest satisfaction and happiness out of this world if I only manage well. That's the main delusion. I'm going to come to an AA meeting. I'm going to hear some good talk, and then I'm going to go out and act better. And then I'll be able to get all the things that I ever wanted. The girls, the money, the car, the house, the job, everything that my mind tells me. If I just had that, then I'd be okay. But that's a delusion because alcoholism is an unsatisfiable mind. So even when I get exactly what my mind told me I wanted, I don't want that anymore. I want that plus something else. And it's never satisfied. My mind never tells me, Randy, oh, it's beautiful. Everything's perfect. You've got the right wife. Your kid is perfect. You live in the right house. You drive the right car. You weigh the right weight. Your hair's the right color. Everything is fantastic. Beautiful, beautiful. No help needed here. Just enjoy the rest of the day. But I do have days like that. I have days and days and days like that today. I have so many beautiful moments throughout a day where I get to be connected to my higher power right here, right now. And I get to have the experience of being restored to sanity, which feels a lot like peace. It's very quiet. Sanity is very quiet. There's no crazy background dialogue going off in my own voice telling me what's wrong in my life. That's insanity. And sanity is quiet. It's just quiet. And when I'm restored to sanity in this moment, I intuitively know how to handle situations that used to baffle me. So I don't have to have any old ideas. I don't need any answers. The answer is given to me in the moment that I need it. Step 7 is where I start to build this character. Because if I'm going to have a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, I'm going to have to do some stuff. And in step 7, it says, humbly asked him to remove my shortcomings. It says ours, but when I'm driving around in my car, I don't need our shortcomings removed. I need mine removed. And my shortcomings have nothing to do with my defects of character, by the way. That's all old character is defects of character. My shortcomings is today, right now, in the moment that I'm in, as a person trying to live by 12 steps. Please remove my shortcomings where I fall short, where I step over the guy that needs a buck when I have an extra buck in my pocket. Who put that buck in my pocket? Why can't I share that buck with a guy who's worse off than me? And what do I care what he does with it? Maybe he'll go buy his last drink with it. Wouldn't that be great if I helped contribute to his last drink? The one that broke his back and made it so he knew he couldn't drink anymore, and he walked into AA. Who am I to decide who needs the dollar and who doesn't? It's not up to me. I'm on this planet now as an agent of God, right? It says God is the director. I gotta quit blaming God. Why? Because it doesn't work. From this point forward, God's going to be my director. He's the principal and I'm the agent. I am here to represent God on this planet. It's a tall order for a crazy alcoholic like me. It's a tall order. I think he picked the wrong guy. But all I have to do is be willing to be that guy. I humbly ask him to remove my shortcomings so that I could be the man that God wants me to be today. And I do it right now. I don't do it later. I don't do it when I get to work. I don't do it when I get home to my wife. I better be doing it then. But there's no chance I'm going to do it then if I can't do it here in this room where there's nothing to do but sit here and say, God, could you be with me? Could you help me? Could you help me hear what's being said? Could you help me add to this meeting? It says in the 7th step, sorry, excuse me. I think I'm having some allergies today. It says on page 71 in the 12 and 12, I don't make this stuff up. And if I do, I'm sorry. Most of us thought good character was desirable, but my sponsor taught me to read this book for me. True, I think good character is desirable. But obviously good character is something I need to get on with the business of being self-satisfied. With a proper display of honesty and morality, I stand a better chance of getting what I really want. But whenever I have to choose between character and comfort, the character building is lost in the dust of my chase after what I thought was happiness. Seldom did I look at character building as something desirable in itself, something I would like to strive for, whether my instinctual needs were met or not. I never thought of making honesty, tolerance, and true love of man and God the daily basis of living. Wow. Those are harsh words. I never thought of that. I never thought of putting God first and seeing what I could do for God. I never thought of making love and tolerance the true basis of my daily living. Prior to AA, for sure, never. My thought was always, I'm going to need more of this. So I'll read one more paragraph out of this book. This lack of anchorage to any permanent values. See, I practice enough honesty and morality to get what I want, but there's no anchorage to that as a way of life. Only to get what I want. And when I don't get what I want, then I'll practice manipulation and hypnotism and whatever else I think I can use to get what I want. This lack of anchorage to any permanent values, this blindness to my true purpose of my life, produces another bad result. For just so long that I am convinced that I can live exclusively by my own individual strength and intelligence, for just that long is a working faith in a higher power impossible. This is true even when I believe that God existed. Even when I believe that God existed, I have a lack of anchorage to any true values, because this is about trusting and relying on a higher power, not believing. I don't care what you believe. Nobody cares what you believe. You don't have to believe anything, but you have to do something. I have to do something. I have to trust and rely on this power right now. Could you be with me? Could you help me? Could you speak through me? Could you help me be the man that you want me to be? And if I do that, I get the best life I've ever known. Nothing has to change. That's the crazy part. I have the same wife, the same kid, the same house, the same car. But all of a sudden, I'm okay. Everything's okay. There's no more restless, irritable, and discontentedness. There's nowhere to go. My mind is satisfied. I have gratitude. Never had gratitude before. I can have gratitude today. And all of this is because of AA's 12 steps, but because of application, not because of knowledge, and not because of time. Time does not heal alcoholism. Knowledge does not heal alcoholism. And it doesn't happen by accident. It happens because right here, right now, I start rightly relating myself to my higher power. Could you be with me? Could you help me to be with you? Could you guide and direct me right now, right here? Could you help me be the man or the woman that you want me to be right now? And then something happens and I have some experience. And this is an experiential program of recovery. Only through that experience can I grow. I probably spoke way too long. I'm so grateful to be here with you all, and I'm so excited to hear about how you are humbly asking him to remove your shortcomings and what results you're having in the day that you're in by doing that, or why you can't do it. So thank you for letting me share.
Thanks, Brad.